Hey guys, so we're going to do an update on Ethereum. One of my guys in my Discord actually asked me to do some more tutorials on the SMC bot. So what we'll do is we'll look at Ethereum, but I'll also talk about the SMC bot, how I use it on the different time frames to take trades, and how it's really helped me with the Ethereum trades and gains that we've made recently. So first of all, sometimes what I like to do is look at the weekly, right? So I zoom out, I look at the weekly time frame on Ethereum. I try to find patterns. Before even looking at the SMC bot, I'll try to find some patterns. Like you can see, we've clearly got this resistance point here. It looks like we're in a broadening wedge. Every time we come to the top, we would come down to the bottom, then we go to the top, then the bottom, then the top, then the bottom, right? So we've got a clear pattern here. And this is likely going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Then I'll start to look at the SMC bot and I can see, oh, we had a buy, we had a sell, we had a buy, we had a sell, we had a buy, right? So we've got some consistent patterns. Each time the SMC bot has given us a buy signal, we've moved quite aggressively to the upside, right? Aggressively to the upside, aggressively to the upside, buy signal, aggressively to the upside. So we've got some consistent patterns on the weekly, but I don't really want to be buying up here, right? I want to be trying to buy down here. I want to be trying to buy down here. I want to be buying down here. I don't really want to, even though this is going to give me confidence, right? So when if I'm in a long position down here and I get the buy signal on the weekly, this might give me confidence to add to my position. So I might add another 1%, or, I might just hold my long position longer. Same when we got to here. If I took a trade down here, this might give me confidence to add to my position when we get a buy signal, or if I've already taken profits, because I think I had already taken profits from this long position here. If I've already taken profits, this will give me confidence to say, okay, the SMC bot is saying that we might go high here, and every time it's given us this signal, we have gone to the upside quite aggressively. And likewise, what's happened after that aggressive move, we've come down aggressively, we've come down aggressively, we've come down aggressively. So when I'm looking at the SMC bot, I am trying to zoom out and see where we are. And even on the RSI, each time we came up to the top, the RSI was overbought, right? We came to the top here, the RSI was overbought, we came to the downside, we came to the downside. Where are we now? The RSI is overbought, and last time these things happened, we came to the downside, and we're also at resistance, okay? So I'm looking for long positions down here. So I'm looking for buy signals on the SMC bot down here. And I'm looking for sell signals on the SMC bot up here, right? So now I know what I'm looking for. I'm then looking on the daily. So I now go back to the daily time frame, and I'll have a look at Ethereum. And Ethereum's been in a massive, massive downtrend. Okay, so we know the RSI is overbought, oversold. It's been coming down on the weekly time frame. I'm now looking for a long position, right? Now I'll then go to the legend, and I'll look at the SMC legend over here, and you see where it says the bright green uptrend. You're not always going to get this signal, but it's phenomenal when it pops up. And you can see here it flashed down here. You see where it went bright green? It was bright green here around 1.5, 1.6k. So this is like the heads up to say, hey guys, you've sold enough now. It's getting crazy. We're finding some kind of a bottom. And, this was a phenomenal signal. It's not always going to be this precise, but, I've seen this pop up on so many different assets. It popped up on Pump Funds token recently, and then that started to pump as well. So I see this pop up a lot. And if I get this on the daily and I manage to spot it, then I'll normally take a long position here. I think I said, I did actually post on Twitter, look, I said, I really hate Ethereum. You guys know I hate Ethereum. I was shorting it since the Grayscale ETF, which we made a lot of money on. But I said I started shorting when we had the sell from the SMC bot, so roughly when we had the Grayscale ETF. It was before this, but it was around the same price. But if the SMC bot gives me a buy signal, I will long Ethereum. I do not fade the bot. Okay, so especially when you've been in this downtrend for so long, and you've just had the bottoms indicator pop off. This red line here is the resistance. So sometimes it's not about the buy or sell signals. It's about the resistance line, this red moving average line. And when we eventually crossed above this, I said, guys, this is the easiest trade, because if we close above this, I'm going to long. It's a buy signal. If we get rejected here, it's a short signal. So sometimes we come up to resistance. You see the red line. It's starting to roll around like this. It's starting to flip green. Notice how the background is turned green as well. So we've come from this red bearish environment into this green bullish environment, this red moving average line starts to flip green as well. So we're getting multiple signals here that we are switching trend. And I said, I am going to take a long position when we break over this. I said, the problem is when we start to break above this, sometimes it moves very, very fast. Okay, so it does skyrocket. So sometimes I do have to ape in because it starts to move and the daily hasn't confirmed, it hasn't closed, but I have to ape in, right? Because I don't want to be longing up here. I don't want to be taking long positions up here when I had the chance to long down here. So, you know, I am going to have to take some risks at some point. And as soon as we get clear of this level, I'm usually going to go in. I'm just going to take the risk because we've got the buy signal. It doesn't confirm till the end of the day. So sometimes you might have to wait 8 hours. But if you're in a long here and it confirms up here, this is where the candle ended up closing. Happy days, right? We've got a fat buy signal from the SMC bot. We had our bottom signals indicator tell us that we'd bottomed. And we are in a long position and we're away. So then I would look, okay, I'm in huge profits. Okay, where are we next? Okay, so now I could technically do two things. I could take some, well, I did take some profits off the table here. And I would then flip back to the weekly. Where are we on the weekly? So we were sitting around here. Okay, so this was our next big stop. When we were on that daily, we had the daily run up here. This is where we took our long positions. And then we come back to huge resistance, and we actually got rejected here, right? We were getting rejected, and you know, we even had a bit of a pullback here. And then eventually on the weekly, we ended up closing above, and you can see on the daily, again, it was this level here that we needed to get over, right? And we it did give us a sell, so we did have this like fake out short squeeze, which I talked about. They'd done this previously last year, the exact same thing. It was consolidating. They flushed out the long positions and then they let it go and they sent it, right? But if there's going to be a big move to the upside, sometimes what they do is flush out all of the longs. It's such a scammy space. I hate it. They will liquidate everyone and then they'll go and send it in the direction that everyone was sort of confident in. And sometimes trying to long these is phenomenal. Someone said, what is this white line? And this is not very consistent, so I can say that it's not very consistent, but I left it in because sometimes it does really play out. And this is a great example because when they go to liquidate everyone, so when you lose this line, sometimes if you're in a short position here, so let's say you took the short position when you got this sell signal, this is a level that sometimes price comes back to when they try to flush people. So it's you could say it's kind of a take profit in flip long level. It's not going to be very consistent, guys. So, you know, there's going to be loads of cases. But if I'm short here, so let's say I've taken profit on my long, I've flipped short, I'm a swing trader. Sometimes I'll go short, long, depends on what the SMC bot is saying. But we clearly lost support here. And if I go short here, this is kind of where I might second guess myself and maybe, hey, take some profits off the table or flip long, right? Maybe I think that this is a flush. Maybe I think they're just trying to flush out the longs and I do think we are going up to the upside. Then this is where I would take profits and maybe take a long position. And it was perfect. Like it literally tapped this white line at 2.1 and then went to the upside. So it's not always consistent. And hey, you know, if I take a long position here, I'll probably just set a stop loss just below, right? So it's a very low risk play. And hey, if I did take profits when we got to this white line and it carried on going lower, hey, no one went broke taking profits, right? So it's no big deal. If I follow the bot, so I had my buy signal down here, I took a long position, and then I had my sell. So let's say I did flip short here, I would close my short when we got the buy signal, okay? So we had another buy signal. So as long as I'm taking the last signal, if I'm short here and then I'm long here, I'm not still stuck in this short position hoping that we come lower, right? I'm following the SMC bot. And then I would have had exposure to this move to the upside, right? And technically, we still haven't had the sell signal from the daily on the daily SMC bot. We did get this yellow candle, which kind of indicates that you might have, be a bit overbought and you might see a bit of a downtrend. So now I did take a short here, right, guys? I think I posted on my X saying, how many times are we going to test this level on Ethereum? Give me a sell, boss, right? So what happens is what time frame is this? This is the 4-hour time frame. So after a massive pump, what I'll do is I'll flick to the 4-hour time frame and I'll be like, guys, we've just pumped a lot here. We know on the weekly We are massively overbought again. We know that the last few times this happened, we had a cool down, we had a correction. So yeah, I'm kind of, we started to long down here. We took another long position here. We've made a lot of money on the way up. And, maybe we break this, maybe we don't. Nobody knows. But the odds are that we are going to have a cool down and a correction here. So now I'll flick to the 4 hourly time frame, and I won't short until we get a confirmed sell signal, okay? So the more times we test this level, the weaker it becomes. It's like a door, right? The more times you keep testing a level, it's kind of telling you, hey, we're eager to come down here, right? And everyone sort of buys the dip, but there's only so much dip buying people can do before it breaks and it comes through. So then we broke and we come through. And we got the sell signal, right? So I posted on, follow my X, by the way, guys, if you're not following, because I do post these updates about what I'm doing on X. If you want to see my actual calls, obviously that's all in the Discord. But yeah, I post what I'm doing on X as well. Smart. So this is the name here. You can see the name, not the top one, it's the bottom one. So I said, when we get the sell signal, I'm going to take a short. I think the price was like 3,780 here. And then we eventually got the sell signal on the 4 hourly time frame. So here's where we got the signal. I actually aped a little bit early because I thought we were going to break, so I took a bit of a gamble. Here's where we got the 4 hourly sell. And you see we started to get these bright green indicators pop up as well to say, like, you're getting some buy pressure here. You might get a little bit of a reversal. So again, some people use these for take profits. I'm more of a long-term swing trader, so I like to I take little bits of profits on the way down, and then I try and hold into a longer move to the downside, right? Because I know my RSI indicates that we might get a longer move to the downside here. So I try to catch these bigger moves, and that's where most of my money has been made, by longing the bigger moves. I think when we longed BTC, around here, 60, 50K. Sorry, it was about 60K area. Might have even been 65K. We longed BTC. Most of the gains I made was not like taking profits here or taking profits here. It was actually just holding into massive. I think I held into like a 200K gain. Might have even been 250K gain. And the same when we came back here. We took some longs down here on Solana and BTC. It was just holding, and I tried to catch the bigger moves. That's where most of my gains has been made. It's not easy to do, but those are the moves I try to catch. So then it's like now we're chopping around, right? Now we're chopping around, and we had this buy signal on the 4 hour, which we did end up pumping, right? We pushed back up, and then you kind of have to use TA as well, right? So it's about using it with TA. We've clearly got this resistance and support line here, and the price came back to the resistance line. So some people won't even use an indicator. They'll just use classic support and resistance, and they'll say, hey, if we come back and retest this resistance, I'm short. If we break above it and close, I'm long, right? So you're still about using classic TA. The bot is just going to help us potentially take the right times with some of these trades. You can go and zoom at the 4 hour, the 1 hour. Sometimes I'll flick to the 1 hour. It's going to be very, very choppy, but the 1 hour is good for reversals, right? So if I'm in a short here, so I'm shorting, and I'm trying to catch the reversal, then I'll use this for the reversal. Where it's not going to be good is where you'll get in this market making chop and, up and down and up and down. Because don't forget, guys, the space is very manipulated. They're trying to liquidate traders. But when you're in a big downtrend like this, sometimes you're going to get a reversal. And you could even go to the 15-minute time frame to even try and nail this even faster. If you want to try and catch it early, it is going to be pretty good on the 15-minute, right? So you can see here on the 15-minute, after we came into a downtrend on Ethereum, we tried to break through resistance. We couldn't get above, right? So the trend is your friend until the end. We tried to get through resistance. We couldn't break above. We tried to get through resistance. Couldn't get through. And these could even be entries, right? If you're some day traders will actually take shorts every time you come back to this SMC 15-minute time frame when you're in a downtrend. So I'm ignoring these buys and sells here, right? I'm ignoring these buys and sells. I'm really looking to close above this red line here. See where this red line is kind of trickling down like this. So I'm ignoring the buys and sells on the 15-minute time frame because it's going to be choppy, guys. And then the background didn't go green until here, but notice how the red moving average line did turn green. You see this green thing here. But that actually nailed it because the exact moment that turned green is when we actually reversed and started to go into this new uptrend. So this is how day traders kind of use this. And I would say if you're using the 15-minute, really you have to learn how to use this resistance line. It's very simple, right? This is resistance until proven otherwise. When it flips and you go into a buy, so clearly we started to close above here, it's now support, right? Those are the only two things you need to know. And every time it comes back down to this line, it's very likely that it's going to pump. And some day traders will take longs each time you come back down, right? They'll take some profits here. They'll wait for it to come back to support. They'll take another long position. They'll take some profits here. They'll wait for it to come back to support. They'll take another long position. I personally don't have the time to day trade, right? I need to know what's going on with the markets. I need to know what's going on with the news, the stock market. I'm constantly listening to the news all day. So, and looking at multiple different charts and looking for potential setups. But if you are day trading, that's how I would use these 15-minute timeframes. It's great for reversals, and I technically could have taken a hedge long here, so I could have taken a hedge long and said, look, guys, we're probably going to get a buy the dip at some point short term. But as I've told you guys, this is how I like to trade. I like to try and catch pivot points, right? We took shorts up here. We took some short positions up here. We made a lot coming down. We came down to the SMC weekly. You can see every time we come down to this SMC weekly on BTC, we end up having a big bounce, a big rally. And I think we are going to do this again, right? This is going to be my next big trade setup, because as you guys know, I was putting in hundreds of thousands at some of these points. And I think when we come down to the SMC weekly, I think we are going to get our final bounce breakout. And I'm getting ready to as soon as we touch that line, as soon as we touch that green line, I'm getting ready for my big trades. So where am I now on Ethereum? I'll do more of these videos as well, guys, on different assets, so you can see, because Ethereum's been a little bit messy. There's been pretty good signals, but it's been a little bit messy. So where am I now? So we're trying to fight. So I'm zooming out. I'm looking at resistance, right? So I'm turning the bot off. We're getting rejected from resistance, right? We've lost this support. The trend is your friend until the end. We're getting rejected from resistance. So I'm still using classic TA. So unless we get above this level here and we start to close above, we're not going to try and reattempt the highs here, right? So this is our first area of resistance. Now, if we do break above this, okay, I might be inclined to close my short position or take the final bits of profits from my short position, because if we can climb above here, we're starting to make new local highs. We've made a lower high here and we're trying to push to the upside. It's more likely that we're going to try and climb. And let's turn the indicator on. And on the 4-hourly, we can see that we're struggling here, right? The 4-hourly, we did have this buy signal, and then it was straight back under, straight to a sell signal, and now we're struggling to get above. So it does look to me that it wants to come down, and I also need to keep zooming out. If in doubt, zoom out, and remember that on the weekly time frame, we are still overbought, and we are still getting rejected from resistance, okay? So this line here, where we tapped this on the daily, this yellow line up here, where we tapped this, is also the weekly line, right? So this is why zooming out really helps us. We also did have this fat yellow candle. It's a fat yellow weekly candle, and it's very rare that these just go and pump straight away. Usually you do see some downside after these, right? It's an indication of some downside, as we did here, right? We had a couple of yellow candles, and then we came to the downside. They don't pop up very often, nor do the green bottom weeklies. The bottom weeklies don't pop up very often. In a bear market, they are phenomenal. Look at this on the weekly on Ethereum. They don't pop up very often, but I'm telling you, nearly every one of these I've seen appear on the weekly has been the bottom, like has literally marked the bottom. And if I ever see these, I'm getting positioned, right? Especially after you came in from a downtrend. You just came down from 3.5k. You had the weekly sell signal from the SMC bot. You obviously went with the last signal, and then we came down a lot. So you are expecting a push. The RSI is completely oversold. You're expecting a push to the upside, and then this green pretty much marked to the local bottom. Same for Solana. If we look in the bear market, look at this, guys. I mean, look at this, phenomenal. This literally marked the actual bottom. I can't wait for the bear market, because we've got so many indicators now that are going to help us try and identify this. So we had these bright green candles appear at $12, and I think it was at $11 here. And this would have been the retirement for me, right? I didn't have this indicator at the time. I did have this indicator, but I didn't have this feature. We've only implemented this like 3 months ago. But this would have been retirement for me because I'm looking for a long, right? The price has crashed so much. I'm looking for this signal, and maybe I'm even waiting for this signal to go heavy and to take my really big long positions and to take my really big spot bags. And the price never came back here, and it probably may never come back here ever again. So what a phenomenal life-changing signal that was. And it doesn't appear very often, right? We didn't get it again. It's very rare that it appears, and it's so amazing at nailing bottoms. And then we eventually had the buy signal from the SMC bot. So we're not going to be able to go from a bear market into a bull run without getting this buy signal from the SMC bot. It's probably going to be later. So I've got two signals here. When I first get these in the bear market, I'm going to go bull steep, and I'm going to place my big bets, and then we're going to get this eventually, and the whole market's going to be bearish, right? When you get these pumps, this is where a lot of traders are actually bearish. I think Gareth was shorting because I was actually in his group as an experiment. I was in his group, and he started to short Solana. Here, and that's the day I left his group. I was like, this guy is going to get wasted. And he kept adding to his shorts. Positions. So many traders get bearish here, but the bot snaps us out of it, and it says, hey, I know we've been going down for so long. I know everyone is bearish, but hey, something's changing here. And then the background turned green, and then this bar started to turn green. See how it's resistance on the way down. When you come up, it's resistance. The trend is your friend until the end. Resistance again here. We got rejected here. And then eventually, fat candle close above. Welcome to the bull run. You're about to get paid. And then the rest is history, right? We bought this around $23, and we've smashed this cycle. Like, we've made mistakes, but we've smashed this cycle. I didn't take profits on Solana until 190, and then I took some more profits at 250. And now I've got my final bag to take. And who knows? Maybe Solana goes to $400 or $500. I hope it does. And that's my final DCA. And if it does go to $400 to $500, we've perfected it, right? We've literally perfected it. We bought the bottom. We've taken profits on the way up because nobody knows when the top is. We've kept to a safe strategy. And the bot has been a big major factor, right? The bot has been a big major factor in that. And we've just been looking at BTC, and we've just been saying when it comes back to support, I'm going to long and I'm going to buy. When it pumps, I'm going to take profits. We took some profits up here. We brought and long down here. We took some profits up here. We brought and long down here. We took some profits up here. I'm looking to maybe long and buy down here again. I don't know. Eventually, this is going to break, right? When you break the bull run trend line, it's lights out. I'll quickly show you the monthly as well, because you can use the SMC on the monthly, and I don't think it's going to escape us. I do not think that the bull run is going to escape us again without getting a monthly. Now, the monthly is a bit of a stretch because you see here we had the buy signal on the monthly. The sell signal is always going to come late on the monthly just because the market crashes too fast, right? So the sell's not going to help us on the monthly. If I want to try and catch a sell, I'm going to be looking at the weekly like I've talked about with you guys. I'm going to be looking at the weekly for the sells. The monthly has been great for buy signals, not just on Bitcoin, on many assets. Even back here in 2015, the price was what? Oh my God, the price was $260. That's crazy. It's been phenomenal, and we came back below. Look how it reacts on the monthly. So it only just comes below. When you get the sell signal, it's actually time to accumulate, I would say, on the monthly. So it comes just below 1, 2, 3, 4 months. We're back into a bull run. Obviously, this is the bear market. It lasts a lot longer. But when we came back below, it was 4 months of accumulation before we went up. Came back to the monthly, so we can look at the monthly for confluence, because look how it came back to the monthly. It retested it to the exact T. Here's your long squeeze, flushing out all the longs. Disgusting game, right? Absolutely disgusting. The market makers want to flush out all the longs. This is something to keep an alarm out for as well. When we go into a bear market, a lot of people will think we've bottomed, and then they flush it. They really flush it, and sometimes it actually comes back to the lows down here. you see the lows where a lot of people were accumulating. It comes back to the lows. They flush it, and then usually you're going to skyrocket after this, right? After they flush all the longs. They don't want loads of people to start getting in long positions, so the price moves very, very fast back to the upside. You'll probably see a lot of manipulation on social media as well, trying to get people bearish. Lots of bad news might drop, and then they'll send it. So if we look at the next time it went under, it was not long again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, longer this time, but 7 months. Accumulation range. Here's your liquidation hunt, right? Here's the flush to flush out longs. They couldn't push it down as much this time. Obviously, there's loads of buy pressure around 20k, but they still came for that final flush, and then they sent the price. And then it was quite good. Look how it came back. The background turned green, so our red line turned green. And it came back and retested the SMC monthly to the T, retested it to the T, retested it to the T. So, if I was in longs here, let's say I was swing trading, I was taking some profits, this is kind of where I'd be looking to get back into some longs and, move to the upside. So it's about flicking between different time frames and, trying to understand patterns. Sometimes when we get these yellows, we come into a downtrend, yellow, downtrend, yellow, downtrend, yellow, downtrend. Yellow downtrend. We still don't have a yellow on the monthly. Now, we have had a yellow pop up on the weekly, but we still haven't had a yellow monthly, which is interesting. So that's it for now. I'll try to, when we look at assets, guys, I'll try to talk more about the SMC bot. So when we're looking at like different trade setups and like Sui and Solana, I'll probably do another one on Sui. I've done one on Solana recently. We'll do more trade setups, but I've never this new indicator with the different patterns like the bright green and the yellows and stuff. I've not had in a bear market, so I'm really excited to see because I'd say that's one of our strongest points is kind of trying to buy when everything's down and when we think things are finding a floor. And these green bottom indicators are phenomenal in this market, right? Who knows what it's going to be like in the bear market, and I think we are probably going to see lots of these yellow bright greens pop off. And if I see it, I'm not just going to trade off that, right? I'm going to be looking at the rest of the market, the confluence, the smart money. What are the smart money doing with their stable coins? Are they buying now? And what's the RSI saying? All of the different indicators, Glassnode. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, because I know some of you probably might not have the money to join the group. That's fine. And I will talk about these things. They're always going to be a little bit later, so my community are always going to get first in. And we also don't want to get flushed by market makers, of course. So if we start talking about trades we've just taken, sometimes we might get targeted for liquidation squeezes. So the trades are always going to be in my Discord first, and and then I'm going to talk about them a little bit later. So if you don't have the money, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go and follow my X, because I do post a lot of trade setups that I'm doing there slightly early, and there's a free Telegram as well. I've got a free Telegram where I post some market updates and more macro news, so you can follow the free Telegram. None of the information in this video is financial advice, so do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. I'm not a financial advisor. You can lose all of your money investing in anything, not just crypto. You can lose your money investing in anything, so always do your own research or speak to a professional before making any financial decisions. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Until then, I will catch you guys in the next one.